Hey everyone, Nick Savage here, author of Us Legendary Gods as well as a bunch of other books. But this is my YouTube channel. I'm kind of starting it over. It's been abandoned for a number of years, but I'm going to be reading bits of the book. I'm going to go in order, but it's going to take some time. I'm not reading all of it. I'm going to read like a little chapter section here and here and talk about things as they happen. So kind of a author's commentary, if you will, about it. But a little bit of background into the West Haven Undead series. I'm kind of off the cuff in this, so excuse the verbal garbage. Us Legendary Gods, the West Haven Undead, has been in the works for a number of years before being finished. And it was something that was started thinking about doing it as a movie, and then it went into a television show kind of idea with some people I was working with. And then I just ended up doing them as books because my writing style lends itself better, at least when I started writing 2 books than it does to screen. So, Us Legendary Gods. I'm going to start with a dedication to Nick Gerger and everyone who believed this story was worth telling. Nick is my best friend, and he is the reason there's someone named Nick in almost every one of the books I write. Kind of my little nod to him. He was also my best man at my wedding, who saved the wedding and saved the DJ from a real ass kicking because he was just atrocious. But that said, today we're going to start off with the prologue. And if you don't know what Us Legendary Gods is about before I start, it is technically an contemporary urban sci-fi fantasy. The story itself is a re-envisioning of your classic monsters, so your werewolves, vampires, fairies, zombies, and mentions of a few others. There's no undead, there's no supernatural, and there's no viruses, because I know a lot of people use viruses for zombies, and there's nothing wrong with those tropes. I wanted to go a little different. I have always been someone who needed proof, needed evidence, and there's a little bit of dogma in the supernatural and the undead, and I wanted data behind it. So these are all rooted in genetics of autoimmune disease. It gets into it in the story, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Prologue. There is no beginning and there is no end to a story. There is only where you come in and where you depart. B. DeSalvo. So, a little bit of trivia about that. Every chapter starts off with a little quote from one of the characters. And when I had started writing the series, this is the only chapter heading by B. DeSalvo. When I had started writing this series and this book, the B stands for someone who I had to change the last name of, and I'll just leave it at that, because I realized that being in the same family wouldn't work for the storyline, so I left it at that. There is a notion in each of us that there is something we can't see, just out of our reach, but we know it is there. Theories go back centuries of mysterious peoples living underground or secret societies in control of our government institutions. There are mythologies in every culture of undead creatures stalking the night, legends of wolfmen who howl at the moon and walking corpses who feast on brains. Type the word vampire into a Google search engine and there will be millions of results. None of the above are ever verified, but the beliefs in them and the nagging notion that their existence persists. Otherwise, the rumors would have faded. I actually did Google vampires just to get a quick rounding result, and it is millions of search results. This opening paragraph sets up an idea for what the book will be about. The one thing I wish I had actually done differently looking back on it was take out the mention of government institutions. Kept the secret societies, but take out the government institutions because it is not a world overview. It is a very intimate look. But even in rumors, conjecture, mythology, legends, and conspiracy theories, there is a kernel of truth. With these little kernels, we learn that they didn't fall too far from the cob. I understand the apples don't fall too far from the tree, but I was saying kernels and going with the wordplay there. The dead that walk, the moon howlers, and the secret institutions do exist, just not entirely according to legend. They live in plain sight, yet no one sees them. It's how they survive. It's how they thrive. But to be in the nation, you have to be a legend. You have to be one of the creatures we were scared of growing up. You have to be in the nation to know the legends exist. To anyone not in the nation, vampires and werewolves are nothing but campfire stories and scary movies. So you have to ask yourself, are you in? The second half of that prologue takes the first half and kind of turns it on its head. Things are going to be different. And that is the basis for it. The idea for me when writing books is to do away with as many normal tropes as possible. A buddy of mine, John Borowski, posted, and I don't know if it was his quote or if he was retweeting or reposting or just paraphrasing someone else, but he says, why do we call them tropes? Can't we call them cliches? And in a sense, it's true, because when Shakespeare first wrote To Be or Not to Be, it was the first time it was, and now it has become a cliche because when people use it, is what it is. So I don't do the genius child with the clueless parent. I don't do the absentee parents, and I understand they exist, and they do exist in here, but they're more mentions than the... When I say absentee parent, I don't mean that they don't exist, because they do exist, and maybe that was a bad example. But I don't do the genius child with the clueless parent because it's been done so many times that it's predictable and just kind of bland and played out. And I try and stay away from all the normal tropes, which is why I don't do the brooding vampires, no offense to Angel, and I don't do the groups of werewolves, which my migraine is causing me to forget what the hell they're called right now. But that was the prologue, and there is a lot of world building in here. The one aspect of world building I don't do, and it is not because I don't agree with it, I actually do agree with it, I just don't want to spend the time to do it, is geography. There are people, J.R.R. Tolkien with Middle-earth, and other people who plan out these entire geographical topographies and then build this world within there. And I'm like, there is an entire map already made of 7 continents, if my education didn't fail me. And we can use those. It worked for H.P. Lovecraft, his raging racism aside. And it was wonderful storytelling. And it worked for a lot of people. So I went with that. And it all takes place in the town of West Haven, outside Chicago, which of course is non-existent. But any writing will fictionalize places, so that's what I did. But that said, I hope you enjoyed the prologue and my little tidbits. As each chapter sections get longer, or I have less to say, as I can't repeat this every time, it'll be more reading and less yapping. But I did hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to be trying doing one of these every week, so like, subscribe, share, and tell people about this. But if you like the story, you pick it up anywhere books are sold. Amazon, my publisher, Four Horsemen Publications, the number 4horsemenpublications.com, Barnes & Noble. If they don't have it in stock, ask for it. They can either order it for you or they can stock it on their shelves, and then you can just sit in Barnes & Noble and read it all day. Anyhow, love you guys. Until next time, remember, it costs nothing to be kind.